Happy Tuesday, good people. You're here for another episode of Paper Route. I'm Corey Holmes. I got Ashley Nicole Moss with me, and I got DeSean Jackson with me. How we doing today, good people?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? I'm
Doing
blessed in yourself.
doing good, man. Good to have you on the show. I know it's been a while. Ashley Nicole Moss, how you feeling? Ashley, I think you're on mute.
Am I on mute now? My
No, we
bad.
can hear you now. How we
I'm good. Listen, I heard our power rankings caused quite a stir yesterday.
It absolutely didn't. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because DJ, I wanted to ask you, who might have had the best top, top 15 ranking. We got like a top 15 graphic for you to kind of take a look at and whatnot. But yeah, no, that definitely caused a stir, and there was a lot of news over the weekend that caused a stir too. We had a couple things that happened over the weekend. Well, if we going all the way back to Friday. Actually, I want to get your thoughts on this. We'll start with the news of the day. But it was like right after the Denver Nuggets, parade, their championship parade. Friday, we got the news that Ja Morant receiving a 25-game suspension. That was crazy. How y'all feel about that? DJ, I wanted to ask you too. Like, is this fair? Was it not fair? Was it deserved? What are your thoughts on that suspension?
Yeah, honestly, I think when we talked about it a few weeks back, my prediction was right on point.
Yeah,
I know
around
last
25.
time he got the eight game prediction, and I said he was going to get at least about 25 games suspension. So I think it's fair. I think this is the second time going through something, and he got another slap on the wrist. But I think he hurt. What I heard is he's losing like 50 million or something like that. It's a crazy amount of money that he's losing. I don't know if that's accurate, but
7 million
what I
actually.
heard,
that was the number.
oh, okay,
7 million
So
because he make 304K per game, so that's gonna add up to about 7 million.
okay. So as far as when you're a professional, you don't never want to lose that type of money.
Mm.
Any type of millions you losing off of something that you did is obviously, hopefully it's a learning lesson. I think it's substantial to what I thought. 25 games, I think that's fair, and I just hope he really learns his lesson this time. I hope he really sits back and takes time to himself and really works on his issues that he needs to work on.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, we actually asked, the fans when the news dropped, what their thoughts were on the situation and whatnot. And actually, a good amount, and I think we have that graphic, but a good amount of people, we had almost over like 30,000 votes, or close to 30,000 votes. And majority of people said that the suspension wasn't harsh enough. So I wanted to ask, what your thoughts on, the suspension was.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because you would think I can understand the rationale of thinking it wasn't harsh enough because a situation like this has happened prior. So it's almost like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing. And I think that a lot of the reason the suspension came down the way it came down was because they offered him an olive branch, a slap on the wrist, like D-Jack said the first time around. And he kind of went ahead and spit in the commissioner in the NBA's face by doing something similar again. The only reason why I think it wasn't more harsh, that it wasn't harsher than that, was because he didn't actually commit a crime. Like, he didn't do anything illegal. He did something moronic, but being a moron or having a moronic lapse in judgment or doing something moronic isn't illegal. If that was the case, a lot of people would be in jail right now, right?
Yeah.
So the reason that suspension came down the way it did was, one, it wasn't illegal. Two, then the report came out that it wasn't even a real gun. So really what this suspension was you basically took the olive branch that the NBA gave you the first time around, and you went ahead and basically said, I can do what I want. You guys aren't going to stop me. And this is basically, now you made a fool of the NBA suspension. So I can understand people feeling a type of way about it, but the reason it wasn't more severe was because it wasn't actually illegal. He didn't commit a crime.
Yeah.
So I think 25 games was my guess. 25 games is ultimately what it was. 25 games without pay for something not illegal is a long time. That's probably, if I did the quick math, not including his endorsements and things he can't do during the season, during that part of the season, that's at least $25 million
Yeah.
based on what he makes, with his rookie extension. That's not a slap. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So there's a lesson in there somewhere, hopefully. But that's 25 games is on par with what I did, with what I thought. So
yeah. We hope he learns his lesson. If you haven't yet, link is in the comments right now. If you're watching us on YouTube and whatnot, give us your thoughts. The poll is there. Go ahead and give us a vote. But yeah, some more news, guys. DJ, I don't know if you was following this weekend, but the Wizards, they're trading All-Star guard Bradley Beal to the Suns in a blockbuster trade, sending Chris Paul again to the Wizards and whatnot. We talked about the Suns potentially putting him on the trade block, and they made it happen. Chris Paul said he learned of the news from his son because he said he was on a plane ride or something like that. Wow. While the trade went through rather. But yeah, the Suns received Bradley Beal, Jordan Godwin, Isaiah Todd, and the Wizards received Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and multiple second-round picks, and also multiple pick swaps. What's y'all thoughts on this?
I just think, I know we'll dive into it more in depth later in the show, but I just find with Antoine, but I just find it funny. Two things. One, did the Suns get worse? No. Did they get better? No. I just find it funny how we are in an era of basketball that has shown more ways than not that super teams no longer work. That throwing three guys together that is an extremely top-heavy offense does not equal a championship. And yet some front offices rather, are just hell-bent on still trying to make them work. I don't know how many different examples you need to show that you need superstar talent and you need depth, Brandon Marshall's favorite word, to still win a championship. The Denver Nuggets are a perfect example of that. The Warriors on the teams that KD won with them are a perfect example of that. I don't understand how you can see those examples and see the examples that didn't work. Hello, Brooklyn Nets, and be like, we want to build our team like that. Now, yes, DeAndre Ayton is going to be an interesting piece. What happens with him can change the landscape of this Suns team. I just think it's interesting that we still are in this era where it's like, let's throw a bunch of guys together and hope it works. It never works.
Yeah, DJ, you think they can win in Phoenix with this lineup that they'll have?
It's interesting, man, because I think last year the Suns kind of disappointed me, man. I thought they was going to compete a lot better at the championship, and for me, I mean KD is KD, right? You bring Chris Paul with them, and you think that they're going to make some noise. You got my boy Booker over there. I love Bradley Beal. He's a dog. His skill set and what he's able to bring on the court every time he steps on, he's one of them guys. But I'm looking at it now, like, who's going to be their point guard? I mean, obviously Chris Paul is kind of disappointing because he's, has the injuries, later in the season. So, I mean, I think they'll gel together, but I still think it doesn't put them over the top from, Chris Paul exiting and now Bradley Beal coming in. I definitely think they'll compete, but I don't know if it's going to make me feel like they're going to be a championship team. So, with that being said, I'm interested to see what they'll do, though. Honestly, I know they need a few more pieces to the puzzle, but they do have the big man down bottom, and I think they're going to compete, but I just don't know if that makes them a championship team.
Right? Yeah, really top heavy, and as Ashley has said, we'll have Antoine on later to talk, to really dive into this conversation more. But yeah, Suns really top heavy, so we'll see what happens there. Guys, how about this, right? Michael Jordan, he says he's selling the Charlotte Hornets after 13 years. It was in 2010 when he acquired majority ownership for the Hornets, and it was for the price of $275 million at the time. Well, now he's selling his stake for about $3 billion, and a part of that agreement is that he also will retain minority stake. How about that flip? Actually, he made some big money from this deal, didn't he?
No, I mean, definitely. And I mean, no shade to the Hornets, but they were probably more of a headache than they were anything else. I mean, the team wasn't winning. Michael Jordan is not somebody who enjoys losing in any capacity, which is why he bets on insects racing. I mean, this is a guy who, wins and wins in every aspect of his life. So I just feel like this team wasn't turning into maybe what he thought they would be. And, again, it's an investment, and sometimes people invest in things with no interest in, holding on to them for the long term. But I think if this team were winning and this team were a team that had some sort of promise of a championship or, you know, being a continuous playoff contender, I'd be interested to see if he would have sold it. I'm a firm believer that he probably would have held on to it a little bit longer, but that's not what this team was. So if you can drop a losing team and make $2 billion,
yeah, right.
Sounds like a good day to me.
Yeah. How you feel about that, DJ?
Boss moves, man.
Right.
You know, Jordan's a boss, man, and I think, you know, kind of to what Yashi said, he came into a situation, you know, I don't think he came into it saying, let me invest 275 and then I'm gonna turn around and sell it for 3 billion, 2 billion, or whatever the case may be. So I think this was something that he really had passion for. I think, you know, he's one of them guys that off of his name and his career, he definitely felt like being the owner would be something, a road that, you know, he could fulfill. But, you know, he's not a loser, and I don't see him being a loser. So I guess for him, he's like, you know, let me remove myself, but still be a part of it somehow, some shape or form, and you know, just on to the next. I'm sure we'll look up and see him investing in something else, and and looking forward to, you know, hitting big on another area. So you know, congrats and kudos to him, man. That's something like athletes like myself, you know, hopefully one day we can get into as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, congratulations to Michael Jordan. And also, congratulations to Lemon Pepper Lou on an incredible career. He retired after 17 seasons. I think, weren't we just talking about him?
Don't call him that, Corey. He does not like that.
Oh, he doesn't like
his
Lemon Pepper
retirement.
Lou? Oh, my fault.
Give him a break.
Lou Williams.
That is
Congratulations.
Lou Williams.
Congratulations to Lou Williams.
I wonder what they'll be serving at the retirement ceremony.
Yeah, right. He probably like, yeah, no, I don't want to see no lemon pepper wings at my retirement ceremony. But no, I mean, great career. They said he has like the most bench points of any player in NBA history. Was a dog. He was definitely just a bucket. So I know, again, congratulations to him on a great career.
And I want to say, I think Lou is one of those players that show you like you don't need to be a starter to have a great career, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Like essentially, my man came off the bench and still became a legend.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. Yeah, you couldn't have put it any better. Like legend, definitely a legend, Lou Williams. But Ashley, I know you had a little piece of news, right?
Yeah. Has anyone here been watching Black Mirror?
Yo. Oh, yeah, well, Black Mirror.
Not this season. I haven't gotten into this season.
What?
I'm a first 2 season guy.
I'm not gonna. Well, first of all, who's been watching and who hasn't? Because I'm not gonna ruin it if no one's been watching.
So I watched one episode. I watched the Demon one. I think it was Demon 79. That was
okay. DJ, have you been watching Black Mirror or no?
I don't watch too many shows. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Dang. Okay, who in the chat has been watching Black Mirror? Has anyone been watching the new season of Black Mirror?
Yeah,
I know JP's been watching it. One of our producers has been watching it. We were actually in the production meeting today talking about it. Can I just say, without ruining it, there are 2 episodes that like threw me. First of all, Beyond the Sea, I watched it last night with my mom. I was really messed up at the end. Like, I was really just not happy at the end. I sat there for about 5 minutes just like digesting what I just watched.
That's typically a Black Mirror episode for you, though.
Yeah, you got to digest every episode.
Those episodes leave you at the
end.
Yeah,
it's just no, but some of the episodes this season I didn't have to digest.
Yeah. Okay.
But that one I had to digest. I sat there and I was like, damn, for real? Like, he did him like that? That's crazy. Like, that one, Demon 79 wasn't like mind-blowing. I personally didn't like the ending, but I did like that it was like remnant of like old 70 like horror films. If you ever watch like those old school horror movies, like The Omen and stuff, how it was like not Technicolor, but it was on that like vintagey film type thing.
Right.
I enjoyed that.
Feel from it.
I did enjoy Lock Henry. That one was really good. The season was actually, it's only 6 episodes. I hate that they come out such short episodes and it takes them like 10 years to drop new seasons. But you guys can watch it on Netflix. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Jonah's Awful was pretty wild too. That one was pretty wild.
Yeah, I think I heard BC in the booth talking about that when he said it.
Yeah, it hit a little too close for comfort because it made me think like that's actually a possibility. So I don't know, a lot of them just kind of made me sit there and was like, it dove into Jonah's Awful was probably the most realistic because it dove into like Netflix, like streaming, but it also dove into like AI and deep fake and all that stuff that's happening now. That's a little bit too real for me. So yeah, if you guys have a chance, check it out. DJ, you have to watch at least one episode and tell us how you like it.
it's not gonna make sense though. If I just watch one and then I'm
No,
gonna be
no, no. Every
lost.
look,
episode is different.
well, that-
Every
Yeah, every
single
episode is
episode is
different.
different.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
different story each episode. So
Mhm.
you can literally watch the seasons out of order if
Get
you want
somewhere
to.
from it.
You
I
can
got
watch one and never watch it again. It follows no storyline. Like every
I'm telling
episode's
you.
its own story.
I'm telling you, you're
I
gonna
got
watch
you.
one and you're gonna
Yeah.
be hooked. That Black Mirror is
I'm
something
gonna be
different.
hooked.
If you
Black
really
Mirror is
like,
something
if you're like a
different.
deep thinker and you kind of
Yeah.
like think about like what technology or how technology is gonna affect life somewhere down the road, I feel like
Mhm.
you'll like it because they explore like basically the Black Mirror is your phone. So like when you shut your
Right.
phone off, it's a Black Mirror. So it
Oh,
dives
okay.
into like
Stop.
technology
I
and
never
how
even thought about it
technology
that
is
way.
going to change our life for the worse if we
Right.
don't, change the way we do things. It's actually very interesting
Hold
if
on.
like you think if you're like a technology person.
I've actually never had it
Yeah.
broken down to me like that. I think if you was
Yeah,
here in the
like your
studio,
Black Mirror is
me and Who
every
just
device
looked at
that
each
you
other.
own.
Yeah.
So
What?
this is it's on right now. Hold on.
Yeah.
This is a Black Mirror. Like
No,
you
no,
can
that
see
Yeah.
it
yourself
makes
in
complete sense. It
I
actually
never
makes
thought
complete
about that.
sense,
Ashley
yeah.
just opened that up to me.
You're
I never thought
welcome.
about
See,
that.
this is what I do.
Also, I got a
I'm
fact.
the person you want to watch shows with because I dive
Yeah.
into every single episode and I think and I analyze.
Wow.
I'm
Love
your
that.
Netflix buddy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know that now. Who you?
But
say
no,
you
I
Gang,
was gonna
gang.
say Ashley has a point. I looked into season 1, and Black Mirror has been around as long as Jordan has owned the Hornets,
Duh.
like since
Right.
2011.
Okay.
It's like,
Like this is insane for 6 seasons,
ironic coincidence.
5 episodes a season. It took you 11 years to do that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, nah, you make
That's
a point
30
there.
episodes in 11 years.
No, you make a point there. But Black Mirror is the real deal. And like I said, DJ, definitely got to check that out.
Definitely.
Yeah, but all right, how about we move on to some football stuff, right? So like Ashley said, yesterday we dropped our power rankings. Today, actually, what we're gonna do is give you our way too early NFL season predictions. And Brandon's gonna share his thoughts there. But before we do that, I wanted to, BC, before we do that, I wanted to throw up our top 15 rankings from yesterday. And I want DJ to tell us who got the most logical top 15 ranking right now. Yeah. I don't think you can see our 15th teams and
Yeah.
whatnot. But DJ, which one making the most sense right here? Which one you rocking with?
Ooh, them letters are small, man. Off
There
the,
we go with the
off the,
logos.
off the top of my head, you said what's the most surprising, or who do I think?
Yeah,
who do I like?
which top 15 makes the most sense? Which one you rocking with? The most accurate.
Honestly, man, I still kind of like the Buffalo Bills, man.
Yeah.
I think the Buffalo Bills at sitting at what they're sitting at number 10.
Who's that? Yeah, that's Brandon's. Brandon got him at 10.
Oh, they
Ashley
got him
him
at
at
10.
7. I got him at 4.
Yeah, I like yours, Corey. I mean, honestly, the Buffalo Bills, they're one of those teams where, they're like a niche, a snap of a finger away, man. I'm excited to see what Josh Allen does this year. I know, the past few years he's been playing at, very high level ball. Stephon Diggs over there. I'm ready. I want to see somebody else do it this year, man. I mean, the Kansas City, Cincinnati. I mean, obviously all the teams obviously up there are very deserving of it. But I would love to see what Baltimore does this year. Honestly,
Right.
I think they have a power ranking team. I think they have like the dream team back when I was in Philly, when everybody was calling us the dream team. I'm excited to see what Baltimore does as well too. But yeah, man, I kind of like the Buffalo Bills, man. I want to see Josh Allen go get him a ring, man. I think it's deserving.
Yeah. I tell you what, one thing when I was putting this list together, I was really realizing how good the AFC I think is going to be this year. I really do think the AFC is stacked. Between the AFC, well, I mean, the AFC West is decent, obviously, because, they got the Chiefs and whatnot. But if we talking about the AFC North and the AFC East, like you got so many, in my opinion, so many contenders all between
Especially
those two
the
divisions.
AFC East.
Yeah, AFC East, I think everybody in that division is a contender. We're going to talk about D-Hop here in a little bit and whatnot, but they can potentially make some moves that can, that could turn them into a contender. And then you talk about the AFC North, you got the Ravens, you got the Bengals, and who knows what the Browns and the Steelers will be this year. So AFC.
I see Ashley not too sold on them Jets, huh?
Or the Giants.
I think you're on mute again, Ashley.
I had the Jets at 4.
Oh yeah, no, she got the Jets.
Ashley, what happened,
Corey,
man?
Yeah,
You
Corey,
don't like the
Corey.
Giants?
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
No.
rocking
They ain't
with
make
I had
top
the Jets
15?
at 4. Now, the only reason I put them at 4 was because I'm really impressed by their defense and obviously Aaron Rodgers. Some people say that's a little bit too high. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm putting too much stock in Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I don't believe in the Giants. I had the Giants right outside the top 15, truthfully. The only reason I don't believe in them is because I don't think Saquon stays there.
Really?
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that you get rid of Saquon, you lose your entire offense unless you're going to have Daniel Jones out there running for his life, which I don't recommend.
Right.
So,
what's your thoughts on the Saquon situation, DJ? Because we haven't asked you about that yet.
Man, I haven't dove too far into it, but I know he's still deserving of a deal, right? They haven't got his deal done yet.
That's what it is, because he hasn't signed the franchise tag yet. They have until, I believe the date is July 17th in order to actually sign him to a long-term deal. But people are thinking that, if they don't give him the deal that he deserves, he might, potentially sit out this year. And, the Giants without a Saquon Barkley, yeah, I mean, to Ashley's point, I don't even know if they're really a top 15 team without Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I'm hoping they get that together, man. He's definitely he's proven himself, especially after that knee injury. I think he's came back last year and had a phenomenal year. And I think he's still building on that. So, yeah, I definitely look forward for him to get out on that field. If he doesn't get on that field, yeah, they're gonna be tough, man. They're not gonna have no running game. And I remember Ashley gave me a hard time because I told her I kind of liked the Daniel Jones and you could win with him. She gave me a hard time about that. So I hope they don't let me down, man. Giants need to get that done, man. So boy, Saquon get out there and do his thing, man.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into the way to.
I would wait real quick. I know we're talking about NFL, but I would like to say, Corey, people think you have the best power rankings list, but I want the record to show that JP put out a poll over the weekend asking people who had the best NBA takes this season. And I would like the record to show that I got 81% of the vote.
Yeah, she definitely blew it out the water.
I won in a landslide.
I know.
We can go ahead and screenshot that, send that to Brandon Marshall. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And I am the winner of the 2022-2023 NBA season by a landslide. It wasn't even close. Corey, I'm actually surprised that Brandon beat you. Right? He got 14%. You got 5%. So I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Dang, so it didn't change.
But that's embarrassing.
I think it was your loyalty. Your loyalty probably messed you up.
Is that what it was?
It seems like a biased response every time.
I was too loud about the Heat.
You were riding that Heat train a little loud. You know what I mean?
A little too much.
Yeah, that's all right. Wait till how loud I am when we get Damian Lillard. Yeah,
you're not getting him. You're not getting Damian.
We'll see then. So. Yeah, I'm gonna be real.
You
loud.
Keeping Kyle Lowry, all right?
Nah.
That's all that's happening.
Kyle Lowry.
All $21 million of him, boy.
For the missed threes.
Check me out, Kyle Lowry. I love you, but I don't know, brother.
For them bricks that he be building.
Yeah, I don't know. But all right, y'all, let's get into our way too early NFL season predictions. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give Brandon the floor to give his, and then we'll share what ours are. Once he's done. So give the floor to Brandon here.
I find that the AFC is a little harder to predict because there's more parity on that side, right? I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes and you have the Kansas City Chiefs. We can put them and pick them every single year. The Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow having more experience and more time with his guys, I feel like they're going to be right there. I see the Buffalo Bills sliding a little bit. The Jets, is hard for me not putting the Jets there. It's hard for me not to put the Jets there because this defense, the run game, and Aaron Rodgers and what they can do through the air. It's just sometimes it's just like everything is just like pulling for this one team or this one player, and I feel like that's what's going on with the Jets. Like, it's due season. Galatians 6:9 is due season for them. The NFC, I feel like, is a little easier. Y'all know I love to bet. I love to gamble a little bit. And sometimes I can go out there and be like, you know what, let me take a shot. Who's going to be that team? Who's going to be that team in the NFC? So when you look at the NFC, I look at it and I say, is this the year the Dallas Cowboys get it done? Is this the year that Ashley and her family is sitting there crying and celebrating, tears of joy? We did it. Thank you, Jerry. We did it. I don't think it is. But it makes you wonder when you're going through this exercise, Corey, Ashley, it makes you wonder. And then you look at The Minnesota Vikings, 13-4 last year. You got the assistant coach of the year in Flores, Brian Flores. Could he be the X factor to get this team and Kirk Cousins to the biggest stage? And then you have the San Francisco 49ers. Then you have the Philadelphia Eagles. And I feel like that's where it starts and ends in the NFC. Mm-hmm. It's with the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm expecting no pushback at all from Ashley, from you, Corey, from anybody in the chat, that this is what's going to happen in the NFC. This is the NFC Championship matchup. Way too early to predict. Way too early to talk about. And when this stuff hits, assistant coach of the year, head coach of the year, MVP, DROY, OROY, man of the year, comeback player of the year, AFC matchup, NFC matchup, just call me the greatest. Call me the greatest. Any pushback, Ashley and Corey?
All right, to be honest, I do have a little bit of pushback. So you heard it. B. Marsh has the NFC Championship being the Eagles and the 49ers. And I think that's a rematch from last year's NFC Championship, right? That was. Yeah, that was. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? You got the Eagles and the 49ers going back, D-Jack?
Ooh, man. I like the Eagles. The 49ers, I'm not all the way sold on. I know they have a hell of a team, and they definitely are stacked. If I had to pick right now, honestly, I want to see what the Minnesota Vikings gonna do, man. I think Kirk Cousins, it's like a make it or break a year for me, man. Kirk Cousins has been playing some great ball regular season, but I think this is a year for Kirk Cousins to make his splash in the playoffs for once, man. I think the past few years he's been there and he's kind of fumbled the ball, and not literally fumbled the ball, but fumbled the ball. So I'm excited to see what they do. I think they added a few pieces to the puzzle with Jordan Addison, young receiver, and from SC. I think he's going to help out Justin Jefferson a lot as well too. So I want to see a different team go this year.
Yeah, no, I mean the Minnesota Vikings, they're definitely going to be explosive on offense. You just hope that the defense, be able to hold up. They can improve on that side of the ball. Ashley, I think you'll be surprised to know who I have going to the NFC Championship. I'm sure you already probably know who I'm going to say just by how I just put that. I think you're on mute, but yeah, I got the Eagles.
Is it the Dallas Cowboys?
I got believe it or not, I got the Eagles and the Cowboys making it. I really do think this is the year that the Cowboys put it together.
How's that going to work, Corey?
Huh?
How's that gonna work?
No, cause look, their offense, I think they only improved, right? Like they add a guy, that Archer. I always forget Brandon Cook, right? Brandon Cook, is that his name? Brandon Cook?
Yes.
The Archer, yeah. So they add him. He's somebody that could take the top off. You have a guy like CeeDee Lamb, right? The Pollard out the backfield. He can also help in the passing game. I think it's the. And then you have, a guy like Dak who's just been in the offense for so long. I think also McCarthy now calling plays might help with their offense. And they've just been getting better every year. Their defense is the same defense they've had for the last, I'd say 3 years. A lot of continuity on that side of the ball. I think as a team, they're going to be able to put it together this year. And I mean, in the Eagles, they're the Eagles. So I think they'll be right back, where they were last year, to get a shot at running it back, at least to get into the Super Bowl. So we'll see. But yeah, who's your NFC championship?
I will say that would be one of the highest rated NFC championship games of all time.
No, it actually would though.
Like it would be. You think it's a hostile environment when it's a regular season game.
Yeah.
You just put a championship on the line. Yeah, it's gonna be a bloodbath. But I always pick the Cowboys to go to the championship game because I am a firm believer in manifestation. And one day, if I say it enough, it'll happen. So once again, the Dallas Cowboys go. D-Dak, I see you laughing. Don't laugh. That wasn't a joke. That's real. It's The Secret. Have you ever seen The Secret? If you manifest it, if you speak it, it will come.
Oh my goodness.
So I am saying Although that didn't work for me when I kept saying I was going to marry Allen Iverson. That didn't work
man.
out when I was
Yeah,
in
that didn't work out.
middle school, but whatever. Age difference kind of worked against me there. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Eagles would be interesting, but I feel like at some point they would cross paths before they would get that far.
You think so? Yeah, that was my only thing. I was just like, it would have to work with how, they're ranked going into the playoffs and whatnot, and they would just have to knock all of the teams off. I do think the game will be in Philly, though.
I'm pushing back on because I feel like they cross paths at one point.
Yeah, like sooner than the NFC Championship.
They usually always do. I feel like they would cross paths in a divisional and not. I don't think one of them would be in a wild card game. I feel like either first round, second.
It could be that
I feel like they cross
matchup.
paths eventually.
Yeah, it could be that divisional matchup. But yeah, either way, I think the NFC Championship will definitely be in Philly. I think Philly is just going to run the table all throughout the year.
I'm going 49ers, Cowboys, manifesting it, putting it out there into the universe. That's what I'm doing. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong, but I'm speaking it into existence.
Interesting. I thought you would at least have the. I thought, because you just said that they'll probably cross paths. So, all right, 49ers, Cowboys. How
49ers, Cowboys. 49ers, Cowboys.
Yeah. All right. I hear you. All right. How about we do the AFC Championship? We'll let Brandon share what he who he has going to the AFC Championship.
And like I said, here we go. I'm gonna be quick here to continue to lay the infrastructure, the groundworks of the makings of a phenomenal 23-24 NFL season. Before we can pile on top, we got to make sure the infrastructure is good. We got to know where we're going. And I'm telling you guys where we're going is to the AFC Championship. AFC Championship matchup will be Jets versus the Bengals. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets find themselves in a very cool position. I mean, we're talking about records being broken week in and week out. We're talking about complimentary football at its finest. You're going to see the KISS technique implemented, keep it simple, stupid. Defense is playing so well, so on offense, what are we going to do? We're going to make sure we have a balanced attack. Aaron Rodgers is not going out like that. I'm telling you. So this AFC Championship matchup, it's going to be Jets versus the Bengals. Smoking Joe, super cool, versus the older, super cool Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Joe, you find yourself in another situation where you just don't get it done because I have the Jets advancing. I have to. Call it bias, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say. But the Jets, they're just stronger. No knock on the Bengals and their legendary run they're going to have, but defense, offense, you got all those weapons. You have Aaron Rodgers, and you have a run game. The only thing we're looking at is health. So here's your AFC Championship matchup. Way too early to be talking about this, but we're going to talk about it because it's way too early. Any pushback on this, Ashley and Corey?
I mean, can anybody disagree with the Bengals making it to the AFC Championship? Do we all have the Bengals at least maybe going?
Yep.
I like the Bengals going.
DJ, do you have the Bengals or is it a different matchup? Who you got?
No, it's a different matchup.
All right, so we're gonna start with you. Who you got in the AFC Championship?
AFC Championship, I'm gonna go with Buffalo Bills. I kind of want to shake it up a little bit. As much as I don't want to do it, I kind of want to do it, man. I just want to, once again, I want to see something different, man. I've played a long time, 15 years in the league. I just want to see something different. I'm going to go Buffalo Bills. I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's an AFC matchup we haven't seen in my lifetime.
That'd be nice.
Ashley, who you got? You got the Bengals and who?
I would actually really like to see Bengals and Chiefs, but once again, I feel like they're going to cross paths. I'm going to go Bengals Ravens.
Bengals
Okay,
Ravens.
so same pick. No, Buffalo, right? He had Buffalo Ravens.
Buffalo
Yeah,
Ravens.
Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bengals Ravens.
Yo, and I'm going with the Dolphins, man. It's gonna be the Dolphins and Bengals.
I was going to say the
AFC
Dolphins, too. I ain't going to lie. I was going to say the Dolphins.
You know what?
I ain't mad at that.
The Dolphins are loaded.
I'm
They're
actually
loaded.
feeling like I have to go against my normal and go Cincinnati and Miami.
Yeah.
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 It's just too much going for Miami
I
right
really
now.
like Miami. It's just Tua for me is the question mark.
Yeah.
Tua is the big. If
so
if Tua was a quarterback, you did now. I know people will say, "Well, he's healthy right now," but there's a long season, and I just always have my breath. My breath is. I'm always holding my breath for Tua. Like every time he does something spectacular, I'm also waiting for something like not good to happen. Not in his skill set, just in the way that he's protected to go ahead and lead this team. Now I know Coach McDaniel said that they did make a lot of adjustments, and they're going to make a lot of adjustments to protect him next season. Hopefully that is the case, because he cannot sustain another major injury.
No, he can't.
But I would say if Tua wasn't my biggest question mark, which is the reason also in the power rankings I had them lower than I normally would have had them. Health permitted, I 100% think the Dolphins can go to the championship game.
Yeah, no,
100%.
Absolutely. I mean, and if we're being honest, yeah, if we go back to college or whatnot, he dealt with injuries. But between, his rookie year and really last year, he remained healthy for the most part. Yeah. But we talking about concussions, so that's obviously why we're so concerned for him. But a healthy Tua, like I said, the Dolphins, they're loaded. And I had mentioned continuity for the Cowboys and whatnot. The Dolphins, they've had the same guys, and all they've done is just added superstars. A guy like Jalen Ramsey, right? You add a guy like Bradley Chubb on the defensive side, and then we got Tyreek Hill. This is another year of him to be in the offense. He actually had said 2 weeks ago to media that last year he was kind of just running around, right, and learning the offense on the fly, and he feels that going into this year he's a lot more confident. So you got a guy like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. And you also, add a Chosen Anderson to the equation. That's a track meet on the offensive side of the ball.
I got a question too, man. I'm curious, man. Is this the year we see from Lamar Jackson? I mean, he has all his weapons, right? He has all the receivers. He has the big targets. Is this the year we see Lamar Jackson get back to the MVP race and finally take that leap?
I tell you what, this is the most explosive offense he's had. Yeah. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I think also when you're playing with a different level of clarity, meaning you don't have that contract monster constantly in the back of your head, and you're not constantly being asked about it, and you can really just focus on football. He got his deal. He got one of the wide receivers that he wanted. He's got a nice offense. They're tailoring once again the offense to not only get better, but once again around him. I think it's a different level of clarity. I think it's a different level of just calmness. And I think it's also a different level of pressure. He knows that now there are no excuses. You got everything you asked for after just a tumultuous situation. Now it's up to you to do the work. And if you don't do the work and you don't go ahead and excel in that capacity, there's going to be a lot of questions about you, and they're going to be questions that are rightfully asked rather. So, I think that we're going to see a different season from him for sure. That's just what I think.
Yeah. No,
I'm thinking two seasons.
Say it again?
I'm thinking 2 seasons.
You think it'll take 2 seasons?
Because the second half, the latter of what Ashley said, everything's in place now. So your nerves are going to actually be more in front of you. You're going to think about everything now. That's how I look at it. So I think it's actually going to be 2 years just so you could get used to everything. The new receivers, and then that second year, hopefully we still got a healthy OBJ. And then I think that's the takeoff.
Say, unfortunately, OBJ, I think he only signed a 1 year deal. So
he's only 1 year, but I don't think Tua gets nerves. I don't think Lamar gets nerves. No. I think Lamar just goes out there and he plays football. I don't think he genuinely. There are just some guys that you think okay, the nerves are going to get the best of him. He's going to go in there. He's going to be questioning. I think Lamar's just going to go out there and play football. I don't think he's questioning himself. I don't think he's going to question his passes. I don't think he's going to question whether to run, whether to stay in the pocket. He's just going to go out there and do what he always does, and that's play football. I can't see Lamar questioning himself.
Yeah, and know that now he has even better weapons to do that with. Now he can just play ball. So DJ, you make a good point. I think they could definitely make a run. Make a run through through the playoffs and make it there. So honestly speaking, Lamar Jackson, that's the home team right there. So I'm rooting for him. If the Dolphins don't make it and I get to root for Lamar Jackson, I'm all for it. So
Corey, you're from Baltimore?
No. Lamar Jackson is from Broward County.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the home team, meaning
Nah.
like the team he plays for. I
Yeah, I'm
was
sorry.
like,
If that went over,
Miami.
if that went over like a couple people's heads, I'm sorry. But yeah, Lamar Jackson is from the home team. He is from Broward County,
Sure.
Florida. So I'm
Straight
always gonna be
Miami.
rooting for the home team. I mean, yeah, DJ, you know how it is. You always gonna root for the LA guys, right?
Nah, for sure, straight Florida dude. Yeah, now to touch on that a little bit too. You know, I'm interested to see because you know they got T. Martin in the quarterback room with them. They brought in what's Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator. They got Greg Roman out of there. So
Yeah, Roman, yeah.
I mean, if any year is the year, I think this is the year. I mean, I think all the excuses, all the, you know, fans was heavy on Greg Roman, fire Greg Roman chant, and now he's gone. So you got Todd Monken came in there after he did some great things. Where was Todd Monken?
Georgia.
Where was
He's at Georgia.
Georgia.
Mhm.
He turned their. I wouldn't say he turned them around, but he actually, you know, implemented a good offense over there too. So yeah, I'm definitely rooting for him. I think, like Ashley said, I think Lamar is one of them guys. He plays backyard football. He's gonna go out on the field. He's gonna make his plays. He's not too pressed on what the defense does. And one thing I would say, after playing with him last year, he really got the heart and desire to really win. He don't care about nothing else. He just wants to win.
Win a ring. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited to watch the Reds. Like I said, the AFC, man. The AFC is going to be fun to watch. What's that?
What kind of year do you guys think it's going to be? 50-50 throw, run, 60-40, 70-30? Like, these new targets, like, what do you think this new version of Lamar looks like?
No, I really think he has the best statistical year of his career. Like, I think he throws for the most yards, at least up until this point in his career, for sure. And I say best statistically, I don't think he'll run for as much and whatnot. But he's still going to do his thing. He's still Lamar Jackson. He's still going to use his legs. Yeah.
Really? See, I disagree with that. I think you're still going to see more run than pass from Lamar.
Really?
I think when he passes, they're going to be. I think when he passes, they're going to be long passes. They're going to be spectacular passes. But I think that you're going to still see Lamar choosing to run before he chooses to pass, unless it's like a wide open pass, a short pass. I just think it's in his DNA. It's just how he plays the game. Like, he is just a quarterback who, if there's even a little bit of space and a little bit of coverage on his receiver, he's always going to take the option to run the ball himself. That's just who he is. Do I think it's going to be as drastic as it's been in the past, like a 70-30? No. But I think if we weighed the percentage, I think the percentage would still lean towards in favor of him running more than passing more.
So you thinking what, like 60-40, like 60 run?
I don't think it'll be that. I mean, maybe 60-40. I would say like 55-35. Like, I don't think it's going to be a drastic difference. Wait, 50? Does that matter?
They got on your math. Yeah, it's all good. Though. We
my
get
bad. Listen, y'all, I was not
See,
getting
we
math.
all make mistakes.
God bless calculators. That is not my strong suit. What number? What percentage was that?
You said 55-35.
What total is that?
Is this
90%.
Oh, my bad.
Is a replay?
My bad,
What's
y'all.
the extra 10?
Nah.
Is he kicking?
I'm having flashbacks to something.
I think honestly, and you know, this is just my perspective on it. Let's not forget, man, the Baltimore Ravens, man, offensively, they're stacked, bro. They got the tight ends. They got the running back, Gus Bradley. They got JK.
Yeah,
you know, like, let's not forget, like, they're still a run-first team. You know what I'm saying? Now they got all these weapons. They got Flowers. They got the receiver coming in. They got Odell. They got Nelson Aguilar. I mean, they got some heavy hitters, but I don't think the system is going to change that much. I think it's still going to be a run-first offense and then play off of that. I think that's going to be their key, and I think they have some crazy weapons on the outside to play it perfectly how they need to play it. So as long as they don't, we got all these weapons outside, let's go pass first.
Yeah,
you got to establish the run game first. You establish the run game first, and everything else is going to be open. It's going to be wide open.
That sounds like 70-30.
Yeah. I guess I'm thinking too much like a Madden player, because in Madden, I'm going to be throwing that ball.
It's not realistic, man. Let's implement this run game first, man, and then everything else is going to play off it. You got to think they're gonna have to account for Odell regardless. You're going to have at least not one. I'm going to say you're going to at least have to have two people on here. I mean, if this the Odell we're used to, you know, when he was playing at a high level. So, yeah, we're excited for that, man.
Yeah, no,
70-30. I know that's 100.
There we go.
70% run?
That's what Andrew said, but I just know it equals 100.
No, but I'm saying, are you saying 70% run? Or
No,
pass?
I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I think that'd be kind of crazy. I'd lean towards a 60-40. Or honestly, I'd lean towards 50-50.
Yeah.
Because he got so much new weapons now. He could try out different stuff.
Yeah.
I was just looking at some stats here. His actual rushing yards have gone down every year since 2019 from 1,206 to 1,000 to 767 to 764. So this is actually, the trajectory is lining up for him to actually throw more.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? He has more weapons around him, so he doesn't have to risk the injuries anymore.
I mean, but like D-Jack said, I think we'll see a lot of play action, right? I mean, because
55-45.
Look at her. She on one now. Look, we know you got your math, girl. You good.
Ashley over there with a calculator.
I know. Nah, 55-45 probably actually makes the most sense.
You know what this reminds me of? The St. Louis Rams. Remember that early offense in the early 2000s?
I mean, well, they
weren't much on. Well, they had Marshall Faulk, so
they threw the rock though. You
but
talking
they
about like the
threw it a
greatest
lot.
show on
Torrey
turf?
Holt.
They threw the rock. Yeah.
That's who they remind me of right now.
Yeah. No, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I'm super excited to watch the Ravens next year. But all right, we got to move on to our Super Bowl predictions. So we're gonna let Brandon share you his, and then we'll come back with ours.
And like I said, Jets advance. NFC, on the NFC side, I got the Eagles advancing. Jalen Hurts is just special. I just feel like it's so simple the way they do things. And they can just go out there and play as fast as possible. And so here it is, the Super Bowl matchup, what everybody's been waiting for. Who's going to be in Las Vegas? Who's going to be staying at the Wynn? Who's going to be staying at the MGM? Who's going to be off the beaten path? What fan base is going to be where? Who's bringing who? Where are we partying? What circus are we going to see? This circus right here, the biggest one in town. February, Las Vegas. The Eagles versus the Jets. Green on green. What are they going to do? Who's going to wear the green jerseys? Who's going to wear the white jerseys? Who's home? Who's away? But I do know this is the Super Bowl matchup. I do know the Jets is going to win. And then we're going to be left with one question, Ashley and Corey. Do we run it back, or does Aaron Rodgers retire? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's discuss.
What's your score prediction?
We're not there yet. It's way too early for that.
Oh, you don't go to score prediction?
Way too early for that. There we go.
All right, he says he knows the Jets are winning the Super Bowl. Come on now. Who we got in the Super Bowl? DJ, I'll start with you.
Oh man, put it on me, huh? I'm
saying
gonna
drug
go.
test, B. Marsh.
I can't do it, Ashley. As much as I want to throw you a alley oop and a
Do it. Come on, give me
I'm not doing
one.
it. No, I can't do it. I can't. It's just something about DJ that can't pick a cow. I ain't gonna disrespect
That's
him, but
crazy.
Can't pick a cow. I'm gonna go Eagles. I'm gonna take my Eagles NFC, and I'm gonna take Buffalo AFC.
Eagles.
And I'm gonna say Eagles gonna win it all.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Ashley,
Damn, Ashley, you straight over there?
What? Eagles are gonna win it
I'm
all.
taking
So
my
you think
Eagles,
y'all-
man.
You think you're gonna two-peat? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm taking my Eagles all
Oh wait,
the way,
no,
man.
you can't two-peat. I forgot you guys didn't win last
No,
season.
they didn't win last year. You know, we should have, but we don't live off shoulda. But this the year the Fly Eagles fly. We bringing the Fly Eagles fly back this year. You know what I'm saying? We on that. So yeah, I'm
Ashley,
going my Eagles.
Who you got in
Yeah.
the Super Bowl?
Obviously, it's not the Eagles.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there.
Right.
I'm gonna go Bengals, and I'm gonna go Cowboys
Oh my
Bengals,
God.
Cowboys.
because it's
So
called
cliche.
manifestation. Once
That's
again, we're on
cliche.
the manifestation
You
tree.
know what? Why we
Cliche.
manifesting?
All right, yeah.
I'm manifesting. It's
Cincinnati and the
Cowboys.
Giants.
They ain't won.
are
They
going
ain't
to
won
the
since
Super
the
Bowl.
They ain't won since the '90s, bro. You know
That's
she
all
got
right.
it. She got
Vintage
the
it.
back in
Giants.
style. You haven't heard?
Oh my gosh.
You sure you don't want the Giants to win?
Come on, Ashley.
I would literally rather anything else happen than the
So the
Giants
Eagles.
win.
So the Eagles can win before the Giants.
Come on, Ashley.
I love
The
it.
lesser of two
Yes.
evils. Go with the Giants.
Yes. Only because Devontae Smith's a good friend of mine. So the Eagles winning means he's 1-1. The Giants, No, I can't.
He said,
I
"We got
can't
no
do
ties
it.
to
I
the
can't
Giants."
do it. I
Dang,
can't do it.
man. I
Sorry.
actually hate the Giants. What the
I can't
Giants
do
did
it.
to you?
I can't do it.
So you actually
do
got
it.
so you actually got the Cowboys beating the Bengals though in the Super Bowl?
I don't.
Okay, all right. I'm like, yeah, you got
Shit,
that.
you're not manifesting. You're not
but we're there.
manifesting, Ashley. Ashley, you're not
I
manifesting.
do.
You're not.
I do. I do. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I'm weak.
I do.
I'm weak. Corey, a fool.
I don't know about no Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. I got the
You
Eagles
gonna
and
pick
the
the
Bengals.
Dolphins, Corey? Come on.
No, I actually got the Eagles and the Bengals. I'm realistic, so I actually got the Bengals going. I think they'll edge the Dolphins, and of course, if the Dolphins make it, then of course I'm a happy camper. But no, I think the Bengals and the Eagles make it, and I think the Eagles top the Bengals. I think the Eagles are hungry, right? They're coming back with the same exact team for the most part.
Yeah.
They might have just added some more on the defensive side of the ball. Everybody on the offensive side is now heading into year 2 with each other and whatnot. I mean, for some guys, it's been longer than that. The Eagles, they're.
Well, we got Swift. We got Swift at running back too. Don't forget about Swift.
God, they got Swift. They got DeAndre Swift.
Like
if you ask me,
I will say though that listen, the Eagles, they brought a lot of people back. Basically the whole team back, and they got much better. I mean, to the point.
No, we still got Jason. We still got Jason Kelsey at center. Come on.
I mean, listen, they brought
Lane Johnson. I can keep going. Brandon Graham, Fletcher. We got the whole Georgia defensive line, like linebackers,
Calm down.
We're the Georgia Eagles.
Relax.
Yeah, honestly, the Georgia Eagles.
I will say though, that's very hard to do in football. They mastered that. Also, they drafted very well.
Howie Roseman, come on, Howie Roseman.
They're gonna be a tough team. They're definitely gonna be a tough team. I said this at the beginning of when we were talking about 2 early predictions. I personally believe, no offense to offense. I don't really care. I think the division comes down to the Cowboys and the Eagles. I don't think that anybody else really is competition. I think that they're going to be watching each other's schedules.
Yeah, being honest.
I think that they're going to be watching closely when they have to play each other. Those games are going to be must wins. It's really going to come down to those teams. The Commanders are in disarray. They don't even own their name. And the Giants don't know if they're going to have their running back, which is who's responsible for a big chunk of their offense. The division really is for the Cowboys and the Eagles to slug it out, win the games that they're not playing each other, win the games that they are playing each other. Those are the teams that I feel like are really going to be the only reason that the NFC East is, to watch the NFC East.
Can I be a little messy?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious, man. It's crazy how no one's talking about the LA Rams, man. And I don't need the Rams, but what about Seattle? Like, is Geno in the talks either? Like,
no.
We're forgetting about the NFC West a little bit. I just kind of, because the Rams was the talk 2 years ago. Like, it's just crazy, how.
Well, yeah, that's what I want to ask. You do have confidence in the Rams? You think if they yeah.
I don't think the Rams are going to be any good.
Yeah, no.
I have a little more confidence in Seattle than I have in the Rams.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'd agree.
But I feel like the Rams are one of them teams where it's like they're almost like a sneaky team. Like, you can't just forget, like, Aaron Donald's not like single-handedly one of the best. I don't even want to say one of the best. I think
the best. The best.
Yeah, the best defensive player of all time. I know we have some argument here and there.
I didn't know you was gonna say all time. I thought you were gonna say in the league right now.
I mean, bro, like all pro. Like, I mean, what out of 10 years, what he had 8 or 9 all pro. I mean, I think that's a
argument there.
It's a conversation you have. I mean, Lawrence Taylor. I mean, you have a few names that could go in there, but I'm just saying, like, at any given time, I know their team isn't as stacked as they were when they won the Super Bowl, but I just like to throw some messiness out here and there. But I definitely think the NFC West, obviously, you hear Frisco, the talk of the town all the time, but a year or two ago, I mean, not a year, say just 2 years ago, it wasn't really like that. So I'm just curious, what do y'all feel about, like, the Rams and Seahawks? Like, are y'all just not sold on?
I think the Seahawks will be decent. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them in the playoffs, see them in the wild card. I think Geno, DK, who's that other guy they have? Walker.
Lockett's still there too, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Walker,
yes.
you talking about the running back?
Tyler Lockett.
Lockett. That's the other receiver. And no, the guy that I'm really gonna be high on this year is Jackson Smith-Njigba, the rookie. I think he's gonna.
Yeah, the rookie.
He might campaign for offensive
I think
rookie
they
of the
have
year.
I think they have a nice little squad. Obviously, you have to worry about San Francisco always. I think, like I said,
They got
Seattle,
Bobby Wagner. They got Bobby Wagner
They
back.
did, yeah.
You don't think
they got him back.
he sells it for him? He's
Yeah.
For who?
The
Bobby
Seahawks
Wagner.
defense. I mean, I think he
No,
definitely-
sells it for who? The Seahawks?
No, I'm just saying the Seahawks. He's back. I mean,
I think the Seahawks will be a playoff team or a wild card team. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. I don't think they're going to be a complete like dismissal. I don't think they're a team that is going to be just, when you play them, you're like, oh, this is an easy one. I think they're a team that's going to win football games. The Rams, I think, just don't outside of Aaron Donald, who's left? Jalen Ramsey's gone.
Matt Stafford's not. I mean,
who's he throwing to? Cooper Kupp can't catch everything as one guy.
I mean, you got Tutu Atwell. You got my boy Van Jefferson.
I just don't think there's enough there. I think that this is a shell of a team. What about Sean
McVay? I mean, they was talking about him as being the best coach in the NFL.
Listen, if they signed D-Hop, then I could start considering the Rams. They'd have.
So is it safe to say it's over for Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams?
I don't think it's over for Sean McVay as a coach. I just don't. I think in terms of turning water into wine, I think we saw that trick already. They already won the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that he can do it again, especially not with this Rams team. I just don't think there's anything there. I just think this Rams team is kind of, for me, when we did our rankings, I had them at the bottom of the barrel. Like I just don't think.
So what if they beat y'all? What if they beat your Cowboys? Do y'all play them this year?
They're not going to beat the Cowboys.
he said
I'm just saying. So is it safe to say if they beat your Cowboys, then your Cowboys are just like
they're not going to beat us, so I'm not going to have that conversation with you.
I would be very surprised if they beat the Cowboys.
Cowboys going 1-16.
Yeah.
1-16.
All right. Well, look, those are our way too early.
You're not talking Andrew. Like,
hey,
Andrew,
man, I got to do the most,
bro?
man.
What's
These
your team,
Giants got to
Andrew?
know I'm out here.
Man, he
the Giants. Damn,
like,
Giants.
What the hell?
20 years
go back
strong.
to New Jersey. Don't talk to us.
I said go back to New Jersey.
Hey, Arlington holds your stadium. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's because we needed a bigger one. That's what happens when you're a $1 billion franchise. You wouldn't know about that.
hey, go win something, man.
We're number one, baby.
You gotta tell
if you're
them
not
we got
first,
a
you
couple chips in
last.
between the time.
There's a reason we're the richest. That's why we needed a bigger stadium. Jerry's World couldn't be held in that situation. You don't even own your own stadium. You share one.
We getting there, Ashley. We getting there.
Y'all share lockers too? What happens?
Oh
they just slap different names in the lockers when it's a Jets game?
All right, I'm gonna step in and save you. 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 Those were our way too early NFL season predictions, everybody. And, hey, D-Jack, before you go, I wanted to get your thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins and whatnot, right? So this past, a week ago, he visited the New England Patriots, and the weekend before that, he visited the Tennessee Titans. But right now, he says he's in no rush to make a decision. So I wanted to, put you in his shoes, like you're D-Hop. Are the Tennessee Titans and the Patriots really the best options you have right now, or do you wait it out to I mean, he sat here on our platform and said he wants to be a part of a contender. Are the Tennessee Titans and the Patriots a contender? People may argue, the opposite. But what would you do if you're D-Hop?
I think it's safe to say. I mean, Tennessee Titans, they've been contenders. Mac Jones, I mean, Bill Belichick. I mean, I would kind of say they're somewhat of a contender. So I mean, I wouldn't exit them two teams out. Now, if I was D-Hop, I would wait a little longer. I mean, I wouldn't be too sold on them two teams. If I want to go to a top contender, I wouldn't say the Tennessee Titans and the Patriots are a top contender, but I think they are contenders. Mm-hmm. But for me, I honestly, I would wait it out for a little bit, man. I wouldn't rush it. It's still early. I mean, we're still in summer. We haven't even got to training camp yet. I think, once you get into some training camp practices, injuries always pop up, and you don't wish that on nobody. But a lot of these teams, obviously gonna go through injuries. You got the preseason. He still has some time, man. If I was him, I mean, financially, I think he's set. I don't think it's a financial issue. I think he really wants to win. I think he really wants to contribute to a team that can really make some noise in the later part of the season. So for D-Hop, man, just take your time, man. Just work out, stay on your game. And, I'm really excited to see the D-Hop, man, because the past few years we haven't really seen the D-Hop that we're used to seeing. So, for him, he really needs to partner up with a great quarterback and do his thing. So I think he still got some time.
Yeah. I mean, Ashley, we've talked about this topic a lot. Anything to add there?
No, I mean, I hope that he would go someplace that, he's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not going to override for him the money that could be on the table for a team that may not be a contender, I just want him to go someplace that he's going to, at the end of the day, be happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can want what you want for a certain player. We've had this conversation about Dame. We've had this conversation about other players, but a player's going to do what a player wants to do, and a player's going to do what's best for him to do. And this may be what, is best for him. So if it's not a contender, then I hope he gets as much money as he possibly can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And another story from last week, D-Jack, before you go, was Stephon Diggs, right? And him not showing up to just the first day of mandatory minicamp. And a report over the weekend, according to Ben Volen of the Boston Globe, Stephon Diggs is frustrated with his role in the offense, and also, wish they'd have or consider more of his input in play calling. I mean, you are a former number one wide receiver. Can you really relate to the situation that's going on with Stephon Diggs? Like, just what are your thoughts on the whole situation in its in its entirety?
I mean, it's tough. I honestly think, anytime you're a top receiver in the offense and, your number is called as much as his is called, I mean, you definitely have impact in the offense. You definitely have say-so on what's going on the plays, on who's calling the plays, in your quarterback situation. So I think for him, financially, with him playing at the level he's playing, I think he's obviously wanting more. He sees a lot of these guys getting new deals and, getting paid and getting taken care of. So I think it's just one of the situations where you're at the top of your game and you're that guy, you always want to make sure you're being taken care of like that. I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think they'll handle it there. I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere. They would be crazy not to make sure he's happy. I mean, even though he's played at a high level, I think he's deserving of whatever he's asking for. But that's always a tough topic and a tough subject. I don't really like to comment on people's financial situations. I mean, whatever they're deserving or whatever they're asking for, depending on what they're bringing to the team. It's his personal reasons, but I think they'll handle it. I think him missing a day or two, whatever it was of OTAs, I think it'll be swept under the rug. And once season comes, I think everything will be worked out.
Yeah, no, I'd say so too. Ashley, anything to add there?
No, I agree completely with that.
Yeah. But hey, man, D-Jack, as always, it's a pleasure having you on. Appreciate you. And I think we got you back on Thursday, right?
Yep, I'll be here, bro. Tapped in, man.
Thirsty Thursday.
Yes, sir.
You
all right,
D-Jack.
Salute. Yeah, take it easy, man. Appreciate you again.
Appreciate you, D-Jack.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all have a good one. OG, what's up, bro?
What up?
What's up? What up, bro? You all right, man? How you been?
Man, I'm blessed, man. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm solid, man.
Hey, man, you got a nice little dungeon back there, baby. I like that.
Oh, come on, man. This is my little gaming area, man. I do a little bit of both on this area, man.
There you go.
Man, I ain't seen you in so long, man. You good, bro?
I know. Yeah, I've been good, bro. Were you in Miami?
Nah, I've been left Miami. I'm back home in Chicago.
Okay. We got a link soon,
Man.
bro. We got a link soon. I'm going to get your line, bro.
Me down, man. Okay, get my line.
Nah, you already know. Much love. Good seeing you, brother.
All right, Dave.
All right, talk soon, bro. All right, y'all be cool, man. Go
All
on.
right, DJ,
We love a good reunion.
I know,
You already know.
Yeah, glad we could help here at Paper Route with this reunion.
Damn, Ash, don't hate.
I love a good reunion. That was
okay. I mean, it felt like that was a hater comment.
No, legitimately showing love. That's crazy.
No, I'm just messing. All right, I'm gonna get in touch with you, DJ.
All right, bro. Y'all take care.
And we welcome Antoine Walker to the show. Like we just said, it was a nice little reunion there. Antoine, how we feeling?
I'm good, man.
Cool.
Summertime shot, man.
There we go.
Right.
Pleasure as always having you on the show. So let's talk some basketball. There was some news that broke over the weekend. I don't know if you saw it. You probably did. It's probably impossible not to have seen it up until this point. But the Wizards, they're trading Bradley Beal to the Suns, right? So in that trade, the Wizards sent, I said at the top of the show, Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, and Isaiah Todd to the Suns for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, multiple second-round picks, and also multiple pick swaps. Antoine, I just want to ask you, who won this trade?
I think Phoenix won. I think, the reason why I believe that Phoenix won, I think when you look at Kevin Durant and the age he's at, and you're trying to bring a championship there, and you can add a Bradley Beal to the equation, I think is unbelievable. My thing I worry about with Bradley Beal a little bit is when you start to play at this level, when you're playing with two other guys that are dominant guys that handle the ball and scoring the ball, can they figure it out? Mm-hmm. And so that's something those guys have to do it. Obviously, Durant, we've seen Durant do it playing with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So we know that he can do it, and he probably can provide good advice and how it can work and get that chemistry together. But I love it. I like the fact that the Phoenix Suns is going for it. You don't want to waste a generational talent like Kevin Durant and not have a legitimate shot and win the NBA title. So I love this. And I love this for Bradley Beal. Get an opportunity to play in meaningful games. Obviously, we know he put up great numbers in Washington, but now he's going to be back in the spotlight and having the opportunity to win the NBA championship.
Absolutely. Definitely has a chance now to win a championship. But Ashley, how you feel? I mean, because to me, it's giving Brooklyn Nets 2.0. I don't know. Antoine, I want to get your thoughts on that after Ashley answers.
I will say that the Suns won, but not by much right now. Here's why. Whenever you can offset a massive contract like Chris Paul and get a younger player in return is a benefit, right? Shamet, yes, they took something off their bench and now they're even less deep than they were to begin with. He wasn't putting up crazy numbers, but it still is an additional body, an additional player. So they lost in that sense. But again, moving that Chris Paul contract was huge, right? So they won there. They lost right now because DeAndre Ayton is still currently on the team. You don't know what you're going to get from him in return when you're looking to move him. I'm a firm believer they're going to move him because they have to. They need to go ahead and get pieces to go ahead and build around this big three. With that said, I do think, though, it is interesting, I said at the top of the show, that front offices have not seemed to grasp the concept of top heavy offenses in the NBA right now do not work. This is not, even if you look at some of the super teams that, made the biggest waves and the biggest splash, in previous years. You talk about the big three in Miami, you talk about the big three in Golden State. They still had great benches. So it's going to be interesting what the Suns do with DeAndre Ayton, how they can go ahead and flip that into depth. Because if they don't, they are in the exact same position with a with a better player, but they don't have anything else to account for it. And in the West, that is not going to work. If you keep DeAndre Ayton, that's going to be a problem because, again, you're still in the same situation. You're a top-heavy offense, absolutely no depth. That does not work in the NBA. We have seen it not work time and time again, which is why players are trying to get deeper. So right now, they did win because they moved Chris Paul. They got Bradley Beal in return, but they're nowhere near complete, and hopefully they know that.
Yeah, so like I said, what's your thoughts on that, Antoine? Because this team does seem to be very top-heavy, right?
Well, your take, Ashley, is very interesting, but I think it can be done. I think about how Miami built their team. I think how Miami built their team is I'm the Phoenix Suns. I'm looking that way. I'm talking about when they had LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. You have to go out. This is when your GM and your scouting department has to be really good at putting the pieces around them. It's not going to be guys that obviously you're going to be able to pay a lot of money to. You got to get minimum guys. You got to get veteran guys. And if their GM if this is where you earn your money at, you put the right pieces around them. You're going to win games. I think you do make a valid point that to win a championship, you got to have all these things and other. But they can build. I'd rather have the 3 stars and have the pressure of building around them and putting some pieces around them any day of the week. So I would take my chances with that. See, they have to figure out, is Ayton going to be able to play with them? Do you want the middle of the floor open up? That's the first thing you have to start. Do we want to keep an Ayton? Because maybe you just trade him because you don't need a center no more. You need a guy that's going to come and rebound and block shots. Ayton is a guy that touches the basketball, give you 20 and 10. This is a guy. So you got to put these type of pieces around him. That's where it gets interesting. Can they do the right things around these guys so they can be successful? But I'll take this big three any day of the week because you got a legitimate shot and a legitimate chance now to win a title.
No,
So,
absolutely.
man,
I agree completely. And for people who may not have understood, in the chat and stuff, what I'm saying is I like the move. That just can't be the only move because I don't think it's enough. Right. I think right now it's a good starting point. I think Bradley Beal is an upgrade from Chris Paul for a multitude of reasons. And again, you were able to move that contract. It's just not enough. And if you can't flip Ayton into pieces, because by moving him, you'll be able to get some depth in return. And if you can't go ahead and also outsource depth other places, they're going to be in the same situation. I don't think Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant without additional pieces are enough. If they can go ahead and build, which is what I hope that front office is already thinking and contemplating, okay, how do we build, around these guys? I agree with you. I think this is a team that can go very, very far. If they don't, I think they're in the same situation that Kevin Durant has found himself in with the Brooklyn Nets or the Suns found themselves in last season. It's not going to be enough when you start competing against teams that also have their own big three or big two, but also have strong benches. That's where they're going to go ahead and come across a problem.
Yeah.
And I'll just add this, and I think what people got to understand with this type of – you have to make these type of moves because we saw the Miami Heat obviously had a great run. Unbelievable season. But those teams, when it gets to the nitty-gritty, you're talking about winning the championship, you got to have talent. And it's not taking away from Miami's there, but when you have a team full of guys that are free agents, guys that work really hard to make it into the league, it becomes a talent difference at some point. If you really look at Denver's talent over Miami, it's a no-brainer why the Denver Nuggets won the NBA title. It just didn't match up. So I think you got to have talent to be able to win a championship. I'm not saying you can't make a run and with some guys that want to work hard and do certain things, but you got to have legitimate talent. You got to have star power and guys that can get it done. That's the reason why guys make $35, $40 million a year, and they separate themselves because those are the guys that can really get it done. That's why you see a Jokic and those guys step up when it counts. They separate themselves when it's time to separate themselves. Right. So that's what I worry about when you try to build these super teams with the Suns. Now it's just about, now you got to get creative, Ash. You got to figure out who's going to be the little pieces around them. You do have to have a little money to be able to pay a couple guys, but you don't got to have that much because there's some guys out there that, they can make $2, $3 million a year that can really help and be great pieces to these guys because you got 3 studs now that can really get it done on a night in, night out basis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, but I want to talk Chris Paul now, right? So last week we were wondering if the Suns were going to part ways with Chris Paul, and here we are. Right, but is this the last spot for Chris Paul? Right, is another team going to swoop in? Reports were saying that the Warriors and the Clippers were among teams who had sent in inquiries for Chris Paul. Lakers have actually emerged as a team that could potentially land Chris Paul, but they said that they're only willing to pay him the vet minimum. Do you see Chris Paul staying in Washington, or do you see him getting dealt away?
No, he's not going to go to Washington. He's not in the point of his career right now. He doesn't need to go to Washington.
Yeah,
he needs to go to a team. He's going to have to take a tremendous pay cut. He's not at the level anymore where you're going to pay Chris Paul $30 million a year. I don't know what the number is. That's something that Chris will have to figure out with himself personally, what he's willing to pay for. But I think if he wants to win an NBA championship, he has to be looking at joining one of these teams that are stacked and where he can play a role. It may not be the starting role. As you get older in your career, there's nothing wrong with coming off the bench and playing a role. I won a championship with a guy named Gary Payton, who played behind Jason Williams. He let Jason Williams start, but Gary Payton closed out every game.
Yeah.
See, so it can work out. It's just a matter of what guys are willing to accept at this point in his career. Chris Paul is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's nothing wrong but playing behind a young guard at this point in his career. Yeah. Those are some of the things you have to take. That's why I had so much respect for Carmelo Anthony when he came back. He took whatever role a team was willing to give him and flourished in it when he was coming off the bench in L.A. because he still wanted to play the game. So I think that's something that Chris Paul has to look himself in the mirror and say, maybe he's not running the team anymore. Maybe he's going to be on the team playing 20, 25 minutes a night, backing up. But he may be the closer.
Yeah.
And Gary Payton, I can use that example because I saw Gary Payton do it and being on a team with him. He played behind Jason Williams. He had no problem with that. But he closed every game out because what? He was our best defensive guard. He can guard anybody ones and twos. And his leadership, he knows how to win games. So it's just a matter of what Chris wants to do. Chris is in a great and unique position. He's one of our smarter point guards to ever play the game. So he'll make the right decision for him. But I think he should be willing to come off the bench and play behind a young guard and then close games out.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in his career, it'd be a sacrifice that's certainly worth it, right? I mean, because his only knock, if it means to be on a contender, because his only knock has been, where's your ring? That's it. So, I mean, yeah, Ashley, what are your thoughts on this situation? And of those teams that were considered, Clippers, Lakers, Warriors, which team also makes the most sense for Chris Paul right now?
Well, that's the key word, and Antoine hit it right there, is he has to be willing.
Yeah.
I think the Clippers would be a fantastic fit for Chris Paul, but he has to be willing to take a pay cut. And part of me wants to believe that he's willing to do that, but the majority part of me finds it hard to believe that a player who a few years ago, Chris Paul hasn't really changed in terms of his skill set as to where he is currently as a player in the past few years. It's been pretty much continuous. Like his skill set has been pretty much continuous. Consistent. Like he hasn't fallen off more, but he hasn't gotten better. He's been the same, right? But I remember that he wanted a massive payday, being pretty much the version of Chris Paul we see now. So for me, it's hard to believe that a player who wanted to be paid like a top tier point guard, like the Chris Paul of Lob City or the Chris Paul of New Orleans, not that long ago, when he was basically the same version of Chris Paul he is in present day, is going to be willing to take a massive pay cut to join a team like the Clippers. I would like to believe it. I think it would be beneficial to him because I still believe that he can, when in the right situation, utilized in the right way, can still be an instrumental part of a team. It's just hard for me to believe that someone who wanted that kind of a payday, when he, like I said, was pretty much the version of Chris Paul that he is right now, is going to be willing to take the pay cut necessary to go ahead and join a team like that. We're talking $30 million.
Yeah, no,
hefty. That would have to be cut bare minimum in half, if not a little bit less. Is he willing to do that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he's willing to do that.
That minimum is less than $3 million right now.
Oh my gosh!
So I don't know if he's taking.
You're talking about going from 30 M's to
2.5.
Almost, in that area.
This,
2.5.
I mean,
that's tough.
I can't see him doing that. It would be like, whoa, if he did, like he really is serious about winning this ring. Is he going to do that? I don't know. I don't even see him taking half a pay cut, and even half would be better than a vet min. Right. I would even be okay with, all right, he's not going to take the vet minimum, whatever. I get it. I would even be okay with half of $30 million. I can't even see him doing that.
Yeah, so I feel like that already X's out Lakers and Warriors. As far as organizations that might have money to pay him. So it's like maybe that Clippers spot actually makes the most sense.
I just wanted to touch, what do you think about that offer Dwight Howard had for him a couple weeks back in Taiwan, Ashley? You think that might be an option? Get that $30 million back?
Like Antoine said, though, there comes a point where you have to really think about the player that you are and not the player that you were. And there's no shame in that. Like he said, we're talking about a first ballot Hall of Famer. We're talking about the point guard. We're talking about one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game. Like nobody can take that from Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where you have to go ahead and think about who you are and not who you were. And I know people will say, well, he's looking for a buyout and a release. Okay, but if he doesn't get that, what's plan B?
Right.
And if you really want to win a ring and you know that you don't have many years left to do that, is the money more? Is it holding on to the money more, which is, I'm going to call it an empty salary because you have the money, but you're not going to be part of a team that can win something. Or is it the rationale of like, I've made a bunch of money. Now it's time for me to try to get that piece of hardware. It's just it's a matter of what's more important to him. And only he can answer that question.
Well, there's only one thing guaranteed in this conversation. That's his money. So, that's really what it comes down to. And everybody financial situation is different. If that, like you said, if it's about winning a championship, because there's no guarantee you're going to win that. So the only thing guaranteed is the only thing you win. The only thing is guaranteed is money. Now I will tell you this: there's nothing wrong. I won a championship. It's one of the greatest feelings I've ever had. It's one of the greatest accomplishments that I've ever had in my life. So I'm not going to say it's not important, but at the end of the day, I don't see too many teams, giving back money and working their way around it. So if you've earned the right and that just due for that money, I think sometimes you got some business too.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Antoine. I'm gonna pose this question to you. If you're Chris Paul, and JP can correct me on the numbers, but I think Chris Paul has made, if I had to guess, probably $300+ million in his career between business endeavors, endorsements, on the court, everything.
Current date, 359 in just NBA.
Okay, so that's $359 million, right?
That's a lot of money.
If you had a $30 million contract on the table and say a buyout was not an option, and you had that kind of money, that was your net worth, that was your money, and it could even be greater than that. We don't know what his real estate portfolio and what other investments he has that may have not gone public yet. So let's just say 360 is what we know. If you were told, listen, a buyout is not an option for you, Antoine, but if you cut this salary in half, we can move you to a team that can possibly win something. Are you holding on to that money? Or are you saying, I made X amount of money, now it's time for me to win a ring, because I can't do both. I can't hold on to $30 million and go to a team that's good. Like, where would you be in this argument right now?
If I'm judging, I don't know if things he's accomplished in his career. I can just know the things that he's accomplished. I would give up half for a legitimate chance, but I would have to really look at the team, and I know it's no guarantee just because of the team. But if I'm going to a situation where I have a legitimate chance with this team to win an NBA title, and I'm looking at my body, and I'm just judging. I'm on the outside looking in. To me, Chris Paul probably has 1 year left. He's been injury prone over the last couple years. If I got 1 year left, hell, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give back half of my salary to go to a team and give it a shot. And
so
that's what
would you give up half for a team? I'm gonna give you 3 teams: Clippers, Warriors, Lakers. Any of those 3 teams, are you giving up half?
To play with the Lakers, I would. If I could play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I would do it.
But
okay,
would you give up 80% though, as opposed to half?
I'm Kawhi too iffy for me.
What about Golden State?
Paul. I think the run's over. I just think it's over. I think it doesn't, him, Steph Curry together in the backcourt doesn't impress me. I don't think they complement each other really well.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so just the Lakers.
Just the Lakers.
Okay.
Just the Lakers, because I've seen LeBron James play with a Kyrie Irving. I know he can play without the ball and still be effective. I know how good Chris Paul and Anthony Davis can be in the pick and roll, how he can be effective, how he can help that game. But I think Chris Paul with the Lakers will help those other guys too really well, because now you add another playmaker. You got to remember, LeBron's really the only playmaker on the Lakers. Yeah. So now I get another playmaker who can get other guys shots. He's going to make other guys better too. Yeah. But yeah, I like half, more than full. I like half if Chris is willing to give up half his salary to put himself in a situation to win the championship. But it's got to be with the right team, though, Ash. It can't just be giving up half my salary to play. It's got to be a team that I really believe that we can win it, and try to. I mean, obviously you don't know if you're gonna win it, but it's got to give me the best chance to win it.
100%, I agree with that completely. It has to be a contender. It has to be a team that has the possibility there. I wouldn't expect him to give it up to go play, no shade, to the Portland Trailblazers. Like, no. It has to be a team that there is a promise and there is a chance. Yeah. Because a chance is more than he has if he holds on to the whole 30 million. It's going to be a team that can afford to pay him, but they're not going to go anywhere. So.
What about the 76ers? If James Harden leaves, they need a point guard. And they already got a good squad.
I don't think Philly works, only because they would require too much of Chris Paul.
Okay.
If James Harden leaves, that now he's point guard number 1. I don't think we've already seen you cannot put that strain on him. Yeah. He needs to go someplace that he's not expected to play a full game, that you could load manage him. You could even possibly not start him in the beginning of the season, because if you start him, say, let's say you start him November, right? Which I'm gonna go. It's really end of October, but let's say start of the season. Come post All-Star break, you're not going to have him. Like you're not.
Yeah.
Come April, he's gonna have no legs. Like
So
you can't do that.
it's probably better to have him come off the bench.
I remember how Antoine kind of put it at the beginning of the show. Like I think he's just that veteran point guard that comes in and just close games, right? Like a Gary Payton. Isn't that how you had you know, told the story? Yeah,
Gary played the fourth quarters.
Exactly.
I mean, if you want to really boil it down to it, he was playing because he can defend. He's going to make the right play. And not taking anything away from Jason Williams. Jason Williams is actually great for us. He played terrific. But Gary's that veteran guy, he can guard multiple positions. He's going to help you get stops. He takes a lot of pressure off D Wade and having to guard that star two guard. It was just a lot of different ways we was able to use Gary to help D Wade out. And different ways that Jason Williams couldn't help him out.
Yeah, no, you're right. And honestly, we saw the Heat do that with Kyle Lowry, too. If you watched the Heat game, of course, I was somebody who watched them very closely. But Kyle Lowry was typically the point guard in the game to close the games, and we saw less of Gabe Vincent. It was kind of like that same dynamic. And I think Chris Paul can serve, as that same type of point guard for somebody. So we'll see what happens with Chris Paul. But moving on, Ja Morant, Antoine, he received his fate, for the lack of a better way to put it. But 25 games is what the NBA is giving him. Not fair, deserved, or not enough? What you think?
I think it's very fair.
Okay.
I think hopefully it's a wake-up call for him. I just looked at it, man, from a guy like myself who got robbed, and I had a lot of jury at one point in my life, and I tried to so-called keep it real, be around the guys, and backfire. I got robbed 3 times in my life. Man. And those are very uncomfortable, life-threatening situations to be in. I think when you play the gun game, it's not something you want to do. People out here watching it, and I played in the era when it didn't have social media like it is now. So everybody know, you never know, man. You get in these cities, certain places, they try you. You can't enjoy yourself. People are always envious of you. So I think it's good. It's a wake-up call for him personally. So losing some money, losing some games, maybe losing an endorsement here and there, maybe that's the wake-up call he needs. Yeah. And it gets him on the straight and narrow. So I hope he does. It's just something you just don't want to play with. I don't know him, but I've seen the things that it's just something. And then to put it on social media so the whole world, these guys got millions of followers and people are watching everything you do. So hopefully he gets it, man. This guy this is a Hall of Fame talent.
Yeah, it is.
It's not just a regular guy that's in the league. This is a Hall of Fame talent. This is a guy that can, obviously probably make $300-400 million on the court as well as $100 million off the court if he got his act together. He's that dynamic, and all that's at risk now. He can change it. Obviously going to have to, his image is going to do some things, but he can change it. But I think hopefully this punishment wakes him up. He changes how he handles himself, especially in his personal time. Yeah. One, put your phone down, and your friends put your phone down. I'm not saying we're not going to do anything. Everything's going to be perfect. But you got to make sure that you got these phones down and you putting yourself in the best position possible, man.
Absolutely. Anything to add there, Ashley? I know we had talked about this really at the top of the show.
Yeah, listen, I think that it's obviously, 25 was what my estimate was, just because he didn't do anything illegal. He just embarrassed the NBA. He kind of spit in the face of the commissioner because they did, take it easy on him the first time around. I think that it's circling back and it coming out that it wasn't even a real gun is moronic. You already are in a situation where all eyes are on you because you were waving a real gun, allegedly, the first time around in the club. And you say to yourself that waving a fake gun on Instagram Live is a better option because it's not a real gun. Like, nobody could tell it's not a real gun.
Exactly like,
you know what I'm saying?
Gun.
Watching the video. So it's just it's the decision making that's questionable. But people make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. That's 16, 15, $20 million that he's going to lose out on. First quarter of the season, his team is going to be affected. But hopefully, like Antoine says, you learn your lesson. Nike's not going to drop him. They've already come out and said that, he's, they're going to stand behind him. His endorsements are still going to be there, which is, lucky for him because some people aren't that lucky. And we've seen that happen. We've seen that play out. Some people go ahead and lose everything because of a mistake that they've made. And he's made the same mistake more than once. But one of my favorite sayings is once is a mistake, twice is a choice. And he made a choice, and he is now at the crossroads where he can make a better choice, or he can make the same choice again somewhere down the line. And hopefully when the situation presents itself to either make the same choice or make a different choice, he has grown and done the work necessary to make a different choice. And only time will tell. But I can understand why a lot of people don't believe the statement that he put out, because it is remnant of the first one that he put out, and he ended up making the same decision. So right now you're kind of working in a deficit, and that's what happens when, you lose people's trust or you lose people's good graces, is now you have to work your way out of a deficit. And I think it's possible. I don't think his career is over. Like Antoine said, we're talking about a Hall of Fame level talent.
Right.
He just has to make better decisions, and that's completely in his control, and redemption is completely possible. So it's not the end of Ja Morant. He just has to get better.
Yeah, hopefully it is a lesson learned this time around. But all right, moving on. This is an interesting one. Warriors forward Draymond Green plans to decline his player option and become an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Thought that was very interesting. He was set to earn $27.5 million with his player option. Antoine, I wanted to ask you, though, what does this mean for Golden State, right? It's like with his departure, is this, the end of the, like the run for the Warriors? Is this the end of their dynasty?
I don't think it's the end. I'm never going to, you got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. I'm never going to, it's definitely not the end. But he is a big piece of what they've done and the success they've had, if you want to call it a dynasty or whatever. But all the other success they had has been because of Draymond Green. He's played a huge part of it. Been a terrific player with them. So they're going to have to find a replacement. That may come in one guy if they're able to find a guy that kind of has similar skill sets, or it may come from a couple people. But as long as you still got Steph and Klay and playing at a high level, they're still going to be in the mix. But I think it's the right decision for Draymond Green. He's kind of ran his course there. I think the situation with Jordan Poole was kind of the icing on the cake. A young guy on their team that and you fight this guy, and it just changed I think it changed that whole team. They may downplay it, we know, but I think it just changed everything with that organization. But business-wise, player-wise, I think this is a great move for Draymond Green, because I don't necessarily know is it another big payday out there for him. So he's opting out. He may be able to tack on 1 or 2 more years with another team and get him some more money. He's still playing at a high level. So I like the move for him, but it's got to be the right fit. I don't know what that fit is. I have to really sit down and analyze and think about, because he has a tremendous skill set. A power forward that can handle the basketball, but he's not a great shooter, but he does a lot of intangibles on the court that sometimes does not show up in the stat sheet. What teams are going to need that? And that's going to be interesting to see what team really makes an offer for him. But I like it for him. It's a great move business-wise, regardless of what's going on in Golden State. He has an opportunity probably to tack on 2-3 more years and make a little bit more money and conclude his career. So I like the move for him.
Ashley, your thoughts real quick.
I mean, he's in France right now with LeBron.
I was going to add that, if you didn't.
I'm just kidding. Listen, it's no secret LeBron and Draymond are like besties. I don't know if Draymond leaves. I know I know that people want to believe that he does. I don't know if I'm not
he
sold. Really? I'm not sold.
Yeah, I don't know that for sure, but I think I'm sold. He's leaving.
Yeah, it's your
I
prediction.
don't know. There's still a part of me that thinks that him and Steve Kerr have a strong enough relationship that he can convince him not to leave. I do think that one of the two, I think Jordan or him have to go. You can't keep both. I think that relationship is beyond repair. I think it's affected the team beyond repair. I don't think a season's going to make a difference. They do not, or rather Jordan does not like him. And respectfully so, not negating, his feelings and things like that. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on Draymond leaving yet. Could I see it happening? Yes. But a part of me wants to believe that he's still going to stay. He's still staying with Golden State.
Well, let's be real.
The stronger part of me, it sounds like he's staying.
Well, let's think about this. When most guys use their player option, they're opting out because they feel like they want to make more money.
Right.
$27 million a year. I mean, making $27 million. I don't know how much more money he's going to get on the open market. So
Right.
I mean, unless he was told or guaranteed by somebody, I think $27 million is a solid number what he's going to get. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he's not going to get 35 on the open market.
Yeah.
So I can see him wanting to leave. He wants to leave to play with another team. Maybe he feels like his time has ran out in Golden State, and he wants to. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has a small wish list. I don't know his wish list where he wants to go, but he has to. For him to opt out, it was not about money.
Does Draymond move the needle for the Lakers though? I don't think he does.
No, I don't think he does either. But it's something I'm willing to try out. You know what I mean? It's what I mean. It's if I got an opportunity to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, with his skill set and what he brings to the table, I'm willing to see if it can work. It may not, but I want to see it.
Antoine, the Miami Heat.
I'm like 70-30 on this argument. 70% of me thinks he stays with Golden State.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna give him no more money though. That's why I don't see Golden State.
I think the opting out for me, the angle that I'm thinking of is the opting out was like it's me or Jordan. Like I don't know if it's necessarily he wants to really explore the market or if he just wants to change the landscape of the Warriors. Like if you don't get rid of him because we can't make this work, I'm leaving. Like I've already made that clear that I'm not interested in staying if he's here. And if you don't believe me, watch this. Here's my non-bluff. Yeah. I think that if that team doesn't change its landscape, because I personally think the Warriors are in better positioning team-wise than the Lakers are right now. The Lakers still need to build their team out. And Kyrie, you don't know what's happening there. There's word that he wants to stay in Dallas. There's word the Lakers aren't going to make a push for him. Dame's obviously not leaving. He's staying in Portland. Like the Lakers still need to figure it out. The Warriors are in a better position than the Lakers are right now. I think that Draymond knows that. For me, it feels like this is a bluff. I could be wrong, but 70% of me thinks he stays with the Warriors. 30% of me thinks what you think, Antoine. He knows he's not going to get more money elsewhere, but he just wants a change of environment. I don't know.
Well, look, on ESPN, Kendrick Perkins actually said that the Warriors need to build around the core that is Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and Steph Curry, meaning send off Klay Thompson. I want to get your thoughts on that, Antoine Walker. Do you think that's the core that they should essentially build around? I know Ashley's kind of on the side of they need to keep Draymond. So is Klay Thompson potentially a player that they part ways from?
No, I don't think you do that. I think you keep them together. In the NBA, it's about being able to shoot the three. It's a big part of the game. Not letting one of the greatest three-point shooters to play the game go, and then he's still playing at a very high level. That's something I'm not going to do. And you've had nothing but tremendous success with him and Steph in the backcourt. So I'm not doing that. Obviously, you got to think about. I mean, it's Jordan Poole or maybe a Wiggins. As the guys, if I'm trying to make a move, I keep my big three together. I mean, obviously, if I'm going to stay, I'm asking Draymond to come back. I mean, Draymond brings a lot to the table, so I'm not taking that away. I just think when you talk about dollars and cents and what I'm willing to pay him moving forward, that's a different story. But he's a big part of that. I'm trying to. If I'm going to stay, I'm always trying to keep Draymond, Klay, and Steph together. You know what I mean? If we have to part ways with Jordan Poole because that situation may not work, it's too much tension, then we do that. But I'm gonna keep that big three together until I feel like they cannot compete for championships.
Now listen.
And that may be one more year, that may be 2 more years. We don't know. Yeah. But I'm not breaking that big three up. Me neither. Until I truly believe that they cannot compete for a championship. Yeah. And I'm not right now. I'm not. Obviously, you got to put a good supporting cast around them. But they're still in the mix. They're still a top 4 team in the West. They're still in the mix of a team that can compete for a championship. The dollar amount, if Draymond Green wants to opt out, we can play with the money a little bit. I may not start him at 27 because we still got to build the team around him. So I still got to have some money. So the number may not be 27. It may be years. I may want to just say, okay, look, we're going to give you 3 more years at say 20 million. So we give you 3 for 60. Instead of paying you $27 million, per year. You know what I mean? It's a creative way that you can make this work and still be able to add to the team. And then maybe you give up a Jordan Poole because now, you notice these guys cannot coexist. It's just too much tension. And now Jordan Poole being a good young talent, you're going to get something back pretty good for Jordan Poole. I think his value is pretty high in the league. You guys would agree with that. His value is decent in the league where you're either going to get a good solid pick or you can get another good young player for him.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would do. I'm Golden State. I'm not breaking up the big three until I realize until I say, hey, they can't win at a high level.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely. I don't think that window has closed for the Warriors. I think that this was a little bit of a tougher season for a multitude of reasons. The biggest one, obviously, the Jordan Poole Draymond situation, I think trickled down and just affected the team in ways that maybe a lot of people underestimated, myself included. But I don't think that you can pull the plug on this big three under the guise of last season. I think last season was unfortunate and there were a lot of things working against them from the inside out. And I wouldn't use that as the gauge of can this team do it again. Steph Curry's playing some of the best basketball of his career. His window's not closed. Klay Thompson, while he may have lost a step in other areas, we've seen him when he gets hot. He can still do it. I just think that it needs to be recalculated a little bit. But I agree with Antoine that I don't think you close the chapter on this team yet. Mm-hmm. And you can only not close it if you can keep the three of them together.
Yeah. Now, we'll certainly be following the Warriors closely as they figure that out there. But I want to talk about a guy that Ashley just had briefly mentioned when we were talking about, Draymond and potentially going to the Lakers or to the Portland Trailblazers. But Damian Lillard. Right? We won't talk to Damian Lillard. He said he prefers that the Trailblazers trade the number 3 pick to give him, more players to work with on his team. He said that, he still would like to be a Portland Trailblazer, but obviously he wants some help. Antoine, do you think the Trailblazers will be able to get enough or what Damian Lillard wants in return for that number 3 pick?
I think, and it's always hard. I love Dame's loyalty to the Portland Trailblazers, and obviously I like what the Portland Trailblazers have done for Dame and paying him and he's always made max money, so that's fine. But I think at some point in the organization, if you're not able to make a big splash to get him, if you listen to the conversation we're having, we're talking about big threes, we're talking about guys that have multiple stars.
Yep.
The one superstar on the team with a bunch of young guys is not going to win the NBA. You're not going to be good enough to compete at a very, very high level. Dame has made, obviously we know Dame has made a ton of money at this point in his career. I think because their relationship is so close, I think Portland Trailblazers, they say, listen, man, Dame, we don't want to trade you. Obviously we want you to be in Portland forever, but we have to rebuild. You're our best asset. We can get a ton of picks for you. We can probably get a couple young players for you. We're going to make a move. What team you want to go to? Mm-hmm. And give them a list of teams. Yeah. Give them 7, 8 teams and have them pick one. Yeah. And say, look, pick your team, and we're going to try our best to get you over there, and we're going to see what the best assets they can give us back. Yeah. That's what I'm pointing at right now if I'm Portland Trailblazers. You got Dame. You're going to be competitive. He's going to keep you in most games. But the West is too tough. I'm looking at the other competition in the Western Conference. Loaded. You're not going anywhere with Dame just being on a team by himself with a bunch of young guys. It's just not going to happen. So if Portland and Dame have a great relationship, go to him and say, hey, look, give us a wish list of where you want to go. We're going to try to figure out the best thing possible for our organization and for you, and just let's move on. I think that's what Dame is at is right now with Dame would be with the Portland Trailblazers. I think they have to get younger. They got to rebuild with that organization. He's a great asset to start rebuilding, whether you want to get 2 young players for him, you want to get a bunch of picks for him. This is the time to do it. And Dame has got to understand that. And if Dame wants to win and add something to his legacy, because Dame's a Hall of Famer. Going to be a Hall of Famer. We all know that. Mm-hmm. But do we want to play for a championship? Do we want to be in meaningful games? We know they had a little stretch there when it was him and LaMarcus Aldridge where they made good playoff runs. Mm-hmm. But do we want a legitimate chance to win a title? And that's something that Dame has to think about. And we got to also say, Dame got a big contract, man. He got a lot of money. He's not going to be easy to move. Yeah. So this is not going to be easy. to do. If he wants to join one of those super teams, because most of those super teams, cap space is gone.
Yeah, right. No, that's a good point there. Yeah, well, no, we'll see. I mean, Ashley, what are your thoughts on this?
I have like a toxic relationship with Dame, and I'm not even a Trailblazers fan.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, do you want to stay or do you want to go? And I'm a
Right.
huge Dame Lillard fan, but it's like, I feel like we do this song and dance every single season, every single off season. Is Dame leaving the Portland Trailblazers, and he'll breadcrumb that like he's interested in other teams, or there will be reports rather he's interested in other teams, or he'll like certain things on social media and people take that and run with it. And then ultimately it's about a few weeks of that just to get back to the point that he's not leaving. He wants to stay in Portland. He wants to see it through. And I just feel like only Dame can change Dame's situation. Like, you can want what you want for him, but he has to want what he wants for himself as well. And if he wants to stay in Portland, I'm okay with that. I've already come to terms that he wants to do it his way, and that's to stay in Portland. What gets frustrating is the little breadcrumbing of like, is he interested in going here, and the liking of it's just like, you know, you're not leaving. I know you're not leaving. We know you're not leaving. You know what I mean? It's like dating a guy. It's like being in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they're constantly telling you how
talking.
unhappy they are, and they like certain pictures on social media to get under your skin. And yeah, maybe it worked the first time, maybe it worked the second time, maybe it worked the third time. But the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time around, you're like, you're not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing this. Do you want a hug? Do you want me to cuddle you? Do you want me to scratch your head? Do you need attention? Do you want me to say you're the best? Do you want me to take you out on a date? I got you. Like, stop doing this, okay? It's just that. It's just like, Dame, you can move or you can stay. But the song and dance is old. The song and dance.
But can I also add too, though, and what we got to understand, and as a basketball player, it's like, I was very fortunate. I won a college championship. I won an NBA championship. But sometimes championships are not important to every player. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. So we have to realize that. I think sometimes basketball fans and people we watch, everybody's like, well, damn, he didn't win a championship, or he wasn't never played in the finals. Sometimes that's not important to guys. You know what I mean? That's not everybody's thing that they want to win a title. Yeah. They want to be there. And it seems like that's not number one priority for Dame. Yeah. Even when he signed the extension back with Portland, where he probably could have went somewhere else. It seems like he wants to be in Portland, and he's trying to force them to try to put this team around him, and they're not in position to do it. They don't have enough assets to be able to do it. He is the asset.
Yeah, no, he is.
You know what I mean? So, and I think that's where it's at. But if I'm Dame, I'll come out and say, hey, listen, I love being in Portland. I love this organization. I want to continue to play for this organization, and that's where I'm going to be at. Instead of putting it out there like, that a title is something that you're thinking about and winning and all that. It could be internal that you think about that to yourself. But if you want to be in Portland and you have that much loyalty to this organization, which he should, they paid him, over $400 million? So they've shown their loyalty to him. So I think that's the thing. And I think that's something that Dame has to look at. Don't try to tell them to trade their future. Yeah. I don't think coming out telling the team trade number 3 pick, don't trade your future.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? You don't do that.
Yeah.
Just if you want to be there and you want to be there, just say be there, and you have to put up with that because the opportunity for him to go somewhere else, I'm sure, can be done. But don't have him leverage your future where you on the back end of your career.
Right. On that note.
And lastly,
go ahead.
Do not say. One thing that we can't do also is, Dame wants to win right now, but he also doesn't want to wait for young talent to develop. Dame, you can't have it both ways. This is not a team that's winning right now. And you knew that situation when you took the money. This is not a championship team. This is not a team that's ready to go the distance. This is a team that is semi-rebuilding. This is a team that has a bunch of young guys that have to be molded and have to be developed. While, yes, they may be more ready than, say, some other rookies or some other young guys, they're not ready to win a championship yet. So you can't have it both ways. You can't want to stay in a situation and do things your way and take the money, 100% okay, not knocking that, and then want a championship team. when you took the money and decided to stay in Portland, you knew that this team was not a championship team. You can't all of a sudden flip the switch and say, "Oh, I'm not willing to wait for young talent. I'm not willing to do it that way." Well, you kind of are, because when you sign on the dotted line, you knew the team that we had and the team that we were building. Yeah. It just has to be a level of awareness.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, all that I want from Dame is a level of awareness that there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it your way. But with that comes consequences. And with that comes a level of patience. And whether he said it directly or whether the reports are that he said it or whatever the case may be, you can't have it both ways. And that's really what it comes down to. And that's okay.
Damian Lillard, quit playing and come down to Miami. It's a wrap, folks. It's a wrap. It is a wrap. Antoine Walker, we appreciate you for being on as always. It was a pleasure. But that's Ashley Nicole Moss. That's me. That's Woo in the West. BC in the booth. And that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Appreciate you.
Bye, y'all.